now listening to Tuff Tiger Talk Flash Report.
All right, shout out to the Tuff Tiger Talk family. Big Q representing the Tuff Tiger Talk Nation. Man, we in this thing, man. It's time for another episode of Tuff Tiger Talk, man. Shout out to you guys. Please hit the like button and the subscribe button, and by all means, the share button. Let's talk tough about the team we love, the LSU Fighting Tigers. Here we go, man. In this episode, we kind of have a preview of the transfer portal as we get ready, man. Coming up soon, man, to see some stuff happen on the transfer portal side. And we've had a run of players, and this happens, man. It happens. As a new coach comes in, we start seeing guys who want to leave the program. And of course, the coach finds himself having to kind of resituate himself and add talent. One of the biggest needs that a lot of people tell me in the comment section about the needs of this team going forward is the fact that, and this happened last year, is the fact that we needed help from an offensive line standpoint. When Garrett Nussmeier, whether you like him or not, he wasn't protected well back there. The offensive line was inexperienced. A lot of these players wasn't as good as we anticipated them to be, and the line struggled. We couldn't run the ball consistently, and that thing went on for large stretches of the season. Now, as Lane Kiffin comes in, he's one of the fantastic offensive minds of college football. He'll be tasked with improving that, because there is no the wide open running fun and gun offense that Lane Kiffin likes to run, unless the offensive line is there to protect the quarterback and open up lanes for our running game. So you're going to want to start there. And even I would add for LSU's defense, who, when they had the talent, they were good. But of course, we have a lot of guys that'll be going to the draft. They'll need to retool there as well. Last transfer portal was very positive for LSU at the time. But Lane Kiffin, who's a wizard at the portal anyway, he will be tasked with finding the correct players to get that offense in high gear. So let's kind of get right into it, man, to see who's in and who's out in terms of Lane Kiffin. Shout out to NOLA.com, who also did a really good job in terms of kind of giving some good game about it. Now, as far as, we're concerned, with Brian Kelly gone, Joe Sloan gone, them guys are out of here. So Kiffin's here. We already know all that beautiful stuff, but let's kind of get into who's in right now. And this is the portal tracker, but right now, we're not at that point yet where January 2nd is hitting. We're still a couple of days off that thing. Today is New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's to you guys as well. But 17 players as it stands is out, who are transferring out from LSU. Who are they? Well, let's recap them here. Ori Williams, the offensive lineman who played 12 games this season, made 2 starts at the right tackle position as a redshirt freshman, 6'8", 335. Williams was a 4-star recruit, ranked number 433 in the 24 class, according to 24/7 Sports. He has more than 3 years of eligibility. With his departure, LSU has 6 offensive linemen entering the transfer portal. A lot of offensive linemen out, so Lane Kiffin knows in terms of what he needs to do to add depth to this upcoming class, because the transfer portal will be serious. So Ori Williams is out of here. Paul Mubanga, the offensive lineman, a redshirt sophomore, played 20 games during his career. Wasn't impressed with him at all. Making 11 starts, he became the 5th LSU offensive lineman to decide to enter the portal. Mubanga has 2 years of eligibility. Austin Alsbury, who's the safety, he's the son of LSU athletic director Verge Alsbury. He played 16 games over the past years, primarily on special teams. He played his first 2 seasons at Auburn. Before coming to LSU, he will have 1 more year of eligibility. A family player along with Verge, but at the end of the day, he wasn't going to see any real time anyway, so that's not a non-factor. Tyree Adams, the offensive lineman, a redshirt sophomore this year. Adams started 9 games and was healthy for the left tackle position. The former 4-star recruit from New Orleans replaced former LSU star left tackle Will Campbell, but now will move on with 3 seasons. Adams has 2 years of eligibility. DJ Chester, after struggling at the starting position, the center position in 24, Chester appeared in 7 games this season while playing multiple positions. He became the 3rd LSU offensive lineman to decide to enter the portal. Chester was a 4-star recruit in 23, who ranked number 139 overall, and according to that 24/7 Sports composite. Now, Javian Tavano, who's a defensive back, did not make the trip to Texas, and the source said that he's expected to enter the portal. Now, Tavano is a top 100 recruit in the 2023 class. He played in every game the past 3 seasons, but only made 4 starts. He will have 1 more year of eligibility. Cohen Eccles, another offensive lineman, is a redshirt freshman who started 7 games at the left guard position. He signed with the Tigers in 2024 as a 4-star recruit from Katy, Texas. LSU is now losing at least 2 players who started on the offensive line in 2025. Carius Kern will enter the portal despite 5 games for the Tigers as a freshman. In the 7 games he appeared, Kern allowed 3 sacks, 11 quarterback pressures, according to PFF. Colin Hurley was the last quarterback to sign with LSU out of high school, but the class of 2024 recruit never appeared in any game after reclassifying up from the 2025 class. Caleb Jackson, this was really one that I really was hoping that he started off well, but just couldn't finish. Got off to a strong start with 165 rushing yards, averaged over 5 yards per attempt, and scoring 4 touchdowns as a freshman, but his workload has decreased since then. He only averages 3.4 yards per rush as a sophomore before carrying the ball just 7 times as a junior. Really going to miss him. He started strong, like it says, kind of tailed off later on, man. It just got beat out. Juwan Johnson, running back, finished 3rd on the team in rushing yards, carries, averaging 4 yards per attempt. Thanks in part as a strong start to the season. Johnson also played quarterback and safety during his time at LSU, a veritable do-it-all. And he's a very impactful player, helped out in spots. We'll have to replace, and I think we'll be all right. Wallace Foster is the cornerback. Foster is a New Orleans native, enrolled at LSU in 2024 as a 3-star recruit. He appeared in only 1 game. Ahmad Bro, the big defensive tackle from Ruston, rotational DT, who started his career as an edge rusher. This season, he played 25 snaps per game and tallied 2.5 sacks for loss and a half a sack. Ashton Stamps, cornerback. Stamps started 17 games across his freshman and sophomore seasons, then left the team a little over halfway through his junior year after sophomore PJ Woodland and freshman DJ Pickett passed him on the depth chart. The Harvey native has now officially announced his intentions to transfer. Jelani Watkins, the wide receiver, a 4-star recruit in 2024, and he ran on the track team at LSU. Despite his outstanding speed, he only caught 2 passes during his time in Baton Rouge. Kylan Billiard, who never caught a pass in 2 years. LSU signed with him as a 4-star recruit in 2024, but could never carve out a role in LSU's crowded wide receiver room. And Desidera Mitchell, the defensive tackle who left the team in September for not living up to, quote, workplace standards, end quote, according to Brian Kelly, he would talk, who transferred to LSU from Texas last offseason and was a 4-star recruit in that 2023 class. So there you go, 17 players. Some of these guys have a lot of talent. Jelani Watkins with that speed. Ashton Stamps showed some stuff early on. Ahmad Bro was a nice rotational defensive tackle for us. Juwan Johnson was a do-it-all player that helped. Caleb Jackson got off to a strong start before tailing off. And then to lose all these offensive linemen, Carius Kern, Cohen Eccles, DJ Chester, Tyree Adams, Paul Mubanga, and Ori Williams, a lot of these guys. So a lot of offensive linemen hitting that transfer portal. So it's just one of the things that we have to focus on moving forward. And Coach Kiffin will light that thing up. So anyway, let's jump right into it. Shout out to Wilson Alexander from NOLA. What comes next for LSU football? Lane Kiffin and staff preparing for the transfer portal. So here we go with that. Lane Kiffin stood near the sideline at the beginning of the Texas Bowl and watched his new team for a little while. He spoke to Texas quarterback Vince Young and former LSU receiver Malik Nabis while he was down there and waved to fans, then went upstairs for a couple of broadcast interviews. Next time LSU plays, Kiffin will be the coach this upcoming season against Clemson. The last thing that needed to happen before Kiffin era began was the Texas Bowl. We lost by 38-35, and they finished 7-6, right? Third season in the past 6 years with less than 8 wins. LSU hired Lane Kiffin because it believes he can win a championship, but a lot of work needs to be done to get there. Kiffin already has crossed off a major checklist item by assembling his coaching staff, and they are preparing for the transfer portal to open January the 2nd to the 16th. So let's take a look at that. A big emphasis during the mid-game interview on LSU Radio, Kiffin said that the staff has big emphasis on keeping with Weeks. That's a big priority for us. Weeks, a junior linebacker and captain, has been training away from the team since the end of the regular season, but he is on the sideline for the Texas Bowl in sweats. But Weeks played in only 8 games this year, and he's dealt with an ankle injury, and he was ejected for targeting. It was not the year expected to have, but he has done enough during his career to potentially get picked up in day 2 for the NFL draft if he leaves now. There's some internal confidence that LSU could keep Weeks after defensive coordinator Blake Baker returned, but at this point, his future is unclear. Only 2 draft eligible starters, redshirt junior Braylon Moore and redshirt sophomore safety Tamarcus Cooley, have yet to announce their plans for next season. They both played in the Texas Bowl and will likely help their draft stocks to return. Now, the offensive line turnover, we just covered that and talked about it. Moore might be the only starting offensive lineman who's back next year. Redshirt sophomore Paul Mbunga, redshirt freshman Ori Williams planning to transfer, and at least 6 LSU's 15 scholarship offensive linemen will enter the transfer portal. It's not surprising amid a coaching change for a position group that struggled so much to go through the kind of upheaval. They missed evaluations and lack of development piled up for the past few years, and the offensive line needs a dramatic reset. So a lot of these players leaving because they know that their positions are in jeopardy. But a number of the departures mean Kiffin and the staff will need to sign several starters and add playable depth. That's a lot in one off season. And if anybody can do it, let's see if Kiffin can do it. Better defensive line depth. In recent interview with the Advocate, Baker said one of the things LSU has to do going into next season is, quote, close the gap between our starters and our backups, end quote. His point about the depth was evident in the Texas Bowl when LSU played without 6 defensive starters. Houston controlled the clock, ran for over 200 yards, and completed 75% of its passes. LSU couldn't get off the field on third downs or make stops in the red zone, 2 areas that have been a strength. It didn't get enough pressure on the quarterback, Connor Wigman. Even with Baker's exotic blitz packages, and the backup linebacker struggled mightily in this game. The Texas Bowl exposed the flaw, but it might have not have changed much about the offseason plan. LSU already knew there was a problem there, and it still needs to find 3 or 4 defensive linemen, at least 1 linebacker, and a safety in the transfer portal. At the same time, the returning players have to improve. Some of them will start. Others need to contribute. Kiffin thinks a lot of the defensive players will stay because of the staff's continuity. Their development is critical. Now, the offensive rebuild. Sophomore quarterback Michael Van Buren reiterated after the bowl game that he wants to stay on the team. He said he talked to Coach Kiffin and the new staff, but while he wants to return, it's not definitive yet. LSU is preparing to go after multiple transfer quarterbacks, including a high-level starter that could affect Van Buren's future. In 4 games as a starter, he completed over 61% of his passes, 786 yards with 6 touchdowns against just 2 interceptions. He also scrambled 33 times for 105 yards with sacks included. He's the only scholarship quarterback who might return. I'm going to sit back and see what happens, said Van Buren. Baton Rouge is where I want to be. LSU also has to rebuild the running back room and find proven wide receivers there as well. Though others could emerge, only redshirt sophomore Kyle Parker. It wouldn't hurt to sign another established tight end to complement Trey Green, though may not be a priority. So wouldn't hurt to sign another established tight end to complement Trey Green. At running back, LSU needs to keep freshman Harlem Berry, which they did, right? There's a report today that said that Harlem Berry will stay with the team. He may be the only active player at the position who comes back, depending on sophomore Caden Durham. Berry finishes freshman year with almost 500 yards, 2 touchdowns on over 100 carries. He also caught 8 passes for 32 yards and showed a lot of potential, though he needs to work on ball security. Harlem Berry is very good. Caden Durham, we'll see, but those do have the makings of what's good. When asked why Berry did not touch the ball again in the Texas Bowl after fumbling in the first half, now former LSU interim coach said he wanted to avoid turnovers in a close game. In part of his answer, he suggested Berry will stay at LSU. Harlem has been outstanding in his freshman campaign. He has a bright future here. He'll be one of the greats when it's all said and done. So we know that some of these players, right, we also realize and understand that LSU has an issue, offensive line. They had that last year, though. Even with some of these players, these guys wasn't who we thought they were, right? Denny Green. So improving that could be the main thing. So we already kind of indicated some of the spots. We know if we had to rank them, right? Offensive line to me would be big because you have so many linemen that are gone, right? We understand that O-line, the transfer portal, we have to work the hell out of that. We definitely need to get better in terms of depth interiorly on our defensive line to stop the run. Wouldn't hurt if we had some more help in the secondary and at the linebacker level, right? Wide receiver is also an issue. Backup tight end could be an issue as well. So there's a few things that we need to really kind of pay attention to. So predicting what LSU will do in the transfer portal, who will they go for? What would be a good risk for LSU to go for, or players they can target, right? So with that being said, you'll see some exits. We know Harold Perkins, Aaron Anderson, Mansour Delaney, Garrett Nussmeier, Xavier Thomas. Wes Weeks could come back. We don't know. AJ Hossey. We don't know how this will work, but these are some of the guys, LSU football transfer portal predictions that we can look for. Just a handful of these guys that we can bring in here to help out at key positions for us, because we're going to definitely need that as well. Having guys, Omarion Miller, the wide receiver from Colorado, this guy's going to be really sought after. He's a Louisiana native. He was an effective player for Deion Sanders in Colorado the last 3 seasons, piling up over 1,200 receiving yards with 10 touchdowns. He's physical, 6'2", 210, fits the profile for what LSU would need at their wide receiver. This is a guy that you would want to add to whatever quarterback you have. We know that LSU had gotten in contact with former Florida quarterback DJ Lagway. He's a change of scenery. Lagway had a ton of raw talent. Mistakes have plagued him in the past season, but he led the Gators to some upset wins, like the win over Ole Miss a couple years ago and against LSU in 2024. Kiffin has been great at developing quarterbacks, and Lagway could be a good fit for a system. I didn't like how Lagway played this final year with Florida. I respect DJ Lagway, but are there other better options than Lagway? But LSU did reach out to him in multiple reports. Also, linebacker Robert Woodard from Auburn. You know, all the linebackers in the transfer portal. Woodard is a much high level experience in other linebacker. He played at SEC, which is a big plus, but he also put together his best season, amassing 6-7 tackles, a couple of sacks. He was once an Alabama commit before going to Auburn out of high school. So this could be a guy. And speaking of offensive linemen, you know, that's the biggest need in this draft. Well, actually quarterback is, because we don't want to forget the fact that, you know, we're going to do this thing with Van Buren. We know Lagway. We know there's a couple other guys that's out there that we want to look at. But Josh Atkins, the big offensive tackle from Arizona State, one of the most experienced offensive linemen in the transfer portal, played for 3 schools, most recently Arizona State, Hawaii, and Houston before. That he's 6'4", 310 from Arlington, Texas. He will fill out, you know, a major need for LSU in the transfer cycle. So you'd be looking at LSU adding talent there, building up that offensive line with some of these veteran college players, right? And kind of helping protect the quarterback and establish a running tag. Xavier Chaplin for Auburn is, you know, another one of those players. First at Auburn, he started 12 games, performed well. He's 6'7", 348 pounds. One of Auburn's top offensive linemen, hitting the 90 mark in 5 games. LSU's desperately needs help along that O-line, and Chaplin's production and experience would be a proper fit, a good fit for what Coach Kiffin wants to do with this. Now, as we move forward, we know a couple of quarterbacks that's one of the top needs. We can't can't push past that. But the fact that Lane Kiffin would need to bring in his own quarterback, these are some of the top quarterbacks, top targets that are available right now in the transfer portal. We know it opened up on January the 2nd. These are some of the guys. Brendan Sorsby, the Cincinnati quarterback, 1 year of eligibility remaining, 6'3", 235, redshirt juniors, dual threat guy, produced over 5,600 passing yards, over 1,000 rushing yards in 2 seasons with the Bearcats. He had 63 total touchdowns against 16 turnovers. He was a top 10 QB this season and in QBR and PFF grading, earned second all Big 12 honors from league's coaches, right? He led Cincinnati to a 7-1 start, climbing number 17 in the AP top 25 and getting the Bearcats in the top 12 title since entering November. There's also other people like Sam Levitt from Arizona State, 2 years worth of eligibility remaining. He also 6'2", 205 playmaker, vowed as a redshirt freshman, teaming with Cam Scatterbowl to lead Arizona to that Big Big 12 title last year and an upset of Texas in the CFP quarterfinals. Now, Michigan State transfer put up over 3,000 yards and 26 total touchdowns against 6 picks. He got a top 10 QBR of 80% while earning first team all Big 12 honors in his squad's first season in the conference. So Levitt's there. The third quarterback, Drew Messmaker from North Texas, emerges one of the great underdog stories in college football this year. He's another guy who put up numbers, drew for over 4,300 yards on 70% passing, 40 touchdowns and 10 turnovers while leading the Mean Green to his first ever 12-10 season, a 12-win season in an American title game in that thing. So in Eric Morris, FBS number one scoring offense, Messmaker averaged 14 yards per completion with 67 passes of 20-plus yards. He threw a school record 608 yards against Charlotte. He had over 600-yard passing game against a college team. Crazy. Trinidad Chambliss is another guy. He has 1 year of eligibility, a waiver. He's trying to get the Division II transfer for Ferris emerged as a superstar at Ole Miss, was one of the great underdog stories. Chambliss is seeking an NCAA waiver for his 6 year of eligibility and has enlisted prominent attorney Tom Morris to help fight for him. I wonder who paid for that. He didn't play during the 2022 season and is hoping to receive a medical red shirt to get that year back, citing chronic tonsillitis he dealt with during the fall. Chambliss said he hasn't decided where he'll play next season. I know where he's going to play. He has an incredible year in the SEC, threw for over 3,200 yards, gets 67% passing, 506 rushing yards with 27 total touchdowns against 3 picks. He's a two-way player that can run, scramble. He had a top 5 QBR, 8th place in the Heisman Trophy voting. He got all the stuff. Plus, he's a guy that current coach Lane Kiffin had as his starting quarterback, right? So he knows him. How about another couple of them? Byron Brown from South Florida is another quarterback to look at. He led the FBS quarterbacks, all of them, with 42 total touchdowns in the regular season, had a number 1 QBR and a PFF grade among all the group of 5 starters while leading offense that averaged 43 points per game, 4th most nationally, 6'3", 231 pounds. He's a redshirt junior, had a prolific run as the operator of Galash's fast and explosive offensive tech with over 9,000 yards, almost 10,000 career total yards with 92 total touchdowns. Dangerous on the move, ran for over 1,000 yards and 600-yard plus game rushing performance during the majority of the damage on design runs. So now the 32-game starter is ready to prove he compete at a high level as a starter. So Byron Brown's another guy to look at. And then, of course, Josh Hoover. TCU has 1 year remaining. He took over for injured quarterback Chandler Morris. He's 6'2", 200 pounds, got to sling it around at TCU and has been a 65.2% career passer with a top 5 QBR in the Big 12 in each of his 3 seasons as starter. He'll need to cut down on the turnovers to be more successful. He'll likely fetch more than $3 million on the next deal. So it's any one of these quarterbacks, our quarterback for LSU this upcoming season. We see Chambliss. They have not, given him his waiver yet. We'll see how that all goes. But these are some of the guys, man, that could be guys that we could look at. Rocco Becht is another from Iowa State. Dylan Raiola from Nebraska. DJ Lagway, we talked about him. CJ Bailey from North Carolina State. These are a couple of guys. Now, some of the older veterans, Anthony Calabria from UNLV, Alonzo Barnett III from James Madison, which this kid here has a lot of big numbers as well. Aiden Childs, Bo Prabula from there, Jackson Arnold, and there's quite a few of them, man, to kind of talk about as well. So these are some of the top guys that's hitting that transfer portal, and you want to think that Coach Kiffin's going to get at least 2 of these guys in the portal window to bring in to kind of help this thing turn around. So it's going to be interesting no matter how you slice it. And, of course, let's take a look at this, fam, as we lend this out before we get ready to move on. Some of the top guys we see right here at the quarterback position. You see it right there. The running back position, if you need Caleb Hawkins, is right there. Some of these guys need, will have an opportunity to get them. You got Caleb Hawkins, who's from North Texas. Does he move? You see Hollywood Smothers and a couple other guys that could be available in the transfer portal at wide receiver. Cam Coleman from Auburn. Omarion Miller, we talked about him. DeAndre Moore Jr., Reed Harris. You can use a couple of these guys, man. These transfer guys looking to jump, and you can know that Coach Kiffin's going to like that up. And of course, we talk about some of the offensive linemen, right? You see, Daugherty is another guy from BC. We talked about Xavier Chaplin, Brendan Black, Noah McKinley, Riley Robdell, a couple of these guys, Emmanuel Poku. Some of these, you're going to see a lot of these players, Coach Kiffin go after to try to get to build that offensive line to see if he can land a couple of starters out of the transfer portal to press on and make this thing happen. You can see the tight ends right here as well. So there's a lot of talent in the portal. Defensive line, Chaz Coleman's there. Jaden Woods is another one. We're going to land some talent here from the level. Omar Graham from Florida State's in that thing. Kobe McKenzie. So it's a couple of guys. You can see Robert Woodard Jr. from Auburn is listed in there as well. A lot of good talent, man, that we'll see. So any one of these guys, Coach Kiffin, can find himself. A bunch of these guys going to end up finding themselves in Death Valley, Baton Rouge, on the Lane Kiffin side of things. You talk about the transfer portal of last year, in which we was able to shine and do a lot of positive stuff. Wait till we see what it looks like in January the 16th, when it's all said and done, man. How LSU team is going to look along with the 2026 recruiting class. It's going to be interesting, man, in Death Valley, man. A lot of money's been spread around. There's a lot of pressure to win, man. And we'll see how it all shakes. So anyway, with that being said, that's all I got for you tonight, Tuff Tiger Nation. Do me a service, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share this show with other diehard LSU Tuff Tiger Talk people as we continue to build this thing moving forward, man. Y'all hit that comment section. What transfers y'all want to see Coach Kiffin go after? Let me know in the chat who you think how it will work out. Y'all put it in the chat. So with that being said, I'm out. I'll let you on the next one. Much love. Peace. Go Tigers.